Across the world, one animal is quietly causing chaos. Wild boars are destroying farms on multiple continents, wiping out crops worth billions, and spreading a deadly disease that kills every pig it infects. They are responsible for thousands of road accidents each year and can survive in almost any environment, from icy forests to dense jungles. What makes the problem worse is how fast they reproduce and how quickly they adapt when humans try to stop them. The wild boar crisis has become one of the costliest problems in modern agriculture. Yet most people don't realize how serious or how hard to control it truly is. Farms under attack. Across rural Texas, farmers watch wild boars destroy their fields overnight. These animals tear through cornfields like bulldozers, digging deep into the soil for food and wiping out entire rows within hours. One farmer reported losing 20% of his harvest in a single season. The damage goes far beyond crops being eaten. In vineyards, boars destroy grapevines themselves, setting production back for years. Meadows and grain fields are uprooted overnight, turning carefully prepared land into mud that must be replanted from scratch. Wheat, oats, rice, and soybeans all suffer the same fate. In just 13 U.S. states, wild boar damage now costs agriculture $1.6 billion each year. Texas alone loses $871 million annually, with Georgia close behind. These numbers don't include the extra costs of repairing fences, replanting fields, or installing defenses that often fail. Europe faces the same crisis. In France, compensation for boar damage rose from $2.5 million in the 1970s to over $32 million by 2008. Italy pays around $22 million each year, while damage in countries like Germany, Poland, and Spain keeps doubling every decade. Across Europe, annual losses reach about $80 million. Wild boars are not random in their destruction. They learn which crops are most valuable at specific stages, attacking corn when it is sweetest and fruit when it is fully ripe. By striking at the right time, they erase an entire season of investment, not just the harvest. In heavily affected regions, some farmers have given up completely. In parts of China and elsewhere, communities near forests have abandoned farming because the risk is too high. Productive land is left unused, while boars continue searching for more food. Deadly crossings. On rural roads, wild boars have become a serious danger. In places like Estonia, drivers sometimes encounter entire groups crossing highways with only seconds to react. Unlike day, wild boars are heavy, low to the ground, and can weigh more than 400 pounds. A collision at highway speed often leads to severe damage and injuries. France reports nearly 30,000 wild boar vehicle crashes every year, and many minor accidents are never reported. Germany, Poland, Estonia, and other European countries record thousands more. The risk peaks in autumn, when boar numbers are highest and the animals move more often in search of food before winter. The financial impact is rising fast. In Sweden alone, wild boar crashes cost between 9 and 12 million euros each year. Over a 14-year period, hundreds of people were injured, with several suffering serious harm. The United States faces a similar threat. Feral hog collisions cost about $36 million annually, and as populations spread north, warning signs now appear in states unfamiliar with the problem. Some crashes involve entire groups. In South Carolina, one collision killed 8 boars, destroyed the vehicle, and injured passengers. The danger goes beyond cars. Wild boars have caused train accidents across multiple continents. In one extreme case, feral hogs ran onto a runway in Florida and collided with an F-16 jet during takeoff, destroying the aircraft. Most crashes occur at dawn or dusk, when visibility is low and boar activity is highest. Because boars travel in groups, spotting one often means more are close behind. Even after collisions, the risk continues, as infected carcasses left on roadsides can spread disease if not removed quickly. A virus without mercy. In 2007, African swine fever entered Georgia and triggered Europe's worst livestock disease crisis in decades. The virus is almost always fatal to pigs. There is no vaccine and no cure. Once it appears in a herd, death spreads fast. The disease moves easily. Pigs infect each other through contact, and the virus can survive in pork products like sausages and discarded food. It also clings to boots, clothing, vehicles, and farm equipment. In some areas, ticks spread it as well, making containment even harder. Wild boars are the perfect carriers. They travel long distances, cross borders, and spread the virus into farms and forests alike. One infected boar can spark an outbreak that threatens entire pig industries. Europe alone is home to about 130 million pigs, with countries like Spain, Germany, and France depending heavily on pork production. When the virus reaches a commercial farm, authorities often order the slaughter of all pigs on site. Healthy animals are destroyed to stop the spread. Farmers lose years of work overnight, export markets shut down, and rural economies suffer immediate damage. Since 2007, African swine fever has spread across much of Europe. By 2014, it reached the Baltic states and Poland, followed by many other countries. In 2023, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia confirmed their first farm outbreaks. Recent reports show fewer infections in domestic pigs, but wild boar cases remain steady. As long as infected boars roam freely, farms stay at risk. Scientists are testing vaccine baits for wild boars. But even this effort shows how deep and dangerous the problem has become. Why stopping them doesn't work? Experts say wild boar numbers can only be controlled if 66 to 70% of the population is removed every year. In reality, most efforts remove less than 30%. This gap explains why populations keep growing. Wild boars are highly intelligent and learn quickly. After encountering hunters, entire groups switch to moving only at night. They recognize traps, avoid them, and even teach younger boars which areas are dangerous. Hunting alone is rarely effective. Individual hunters cannot cover enough land to make a real impact. In some cases, hunting actually spreads the problem by pushing boars into new territories. Trapping also has limits. Small traps cannot catch whole groups, and escaped boars become nearly impossible to trap again. Larger traps require major investment and constant maintenance. Seasonal changes make control harder. When crops are abundant, boars ignore bait. At other times, they move less and become harder to find. Reproduction is the biggest challenge. Females can breed before 1 year of age and may produce more than 1 litter annually. With enough food, populations can double in a short time. Fertility control shows promise but works slowly. Without large-scale, coordinated efforts, wild boar populations continue spreading faster than humans can stop them. How wild boars took over. 50 years ago, wild boars lived in limited parts of Europe and only 17 U.S. states. Today, they exist on multiple continents and in almost every environment imaginable, including forests, mountains, farms, and cities. Their expansion began centuries ago when European pigs were brought to North America and escaped into the wild. Later, wild boars were introduced for sport hunting. These animals mixed, creating aggressive and highly adaptable hybrids. Today, wild boars live in at least 39 U.S. states, with total numbers possibly exceeding 9 million. Texas alone holds about 2.6 million. Much of this spread happened because humans moved and released them for hunting. Europe followed a similar path. In Italy, boars were nearly wiped out by the 1950s. As farmland returned to forest and predators stayed rare, hunters reintroduced boars for decades. By 2015, the population reached around 600,000. France saw even faster growth. Annual kills rose from 35,000 in the 1970s to over 800,000 by 2021, suggesting a total population above 1 million. Today, boars move easily between forests, farmland, and cities. The hidden price of destruction. The real cost of wild boars goes far beyond ruined crops. Farmers lose money spent on seeds, fertilizer, water, labor, and machinery. Many replant fields multiple times, increasing costs with no guarantee of success. Some farmers abandon high-value crops altogether and switch to less profitable options. This reduces productivity and income across entire regions. Boars also destroy infrastructure. They break fences, damage irrigation systems, tear up roads, and ruin pastureland. These indirect costs often exceed crop losses. Labor costs are overwhelming. Farmers spend millions of hours trapping, hunting, repairing damage, and trying to prevent further losses. For small farms, this burden can force permanent closure. Compensation systems often fall short. Payments rarely cover full losses and often arrive too late to save businesses. Globally, wild boars cause billions of dollars in damage each year when agriculture, disease, accidents, environmental harm, and control costs are combined, and the numbers keep rising. A disease that won't stay contained. African swine fever shows why wild boars are more than a farming nuisance. After entering Europe, the virus spread through wild boar populations that ignored borders and quarantine zones. By 2014, several EU countries reported infections in wild boars, followed by farm outbreaks. Infected carcasses remained contagious for months, creating long-term disease hotspots. While farm outbreaks have declined, wild boar infections remain steady, keeping domestic pigs at constant risk. The virus survives in frozen meat, cured pork, discarded food, and contaminated equipment. In some regions, ticks also spread it. Hunters help reduce populations but can accidentally spread the virus while handling infected animals. Many countries now rely on hunters to monitor and report infections. Once a country confirms African swine fever, pork exports are often banned. For major producers, this can cripple entire industries. When food systems start to break, wild boars threaten entire food systems. When African swine fever appears, thousands of pigs are culled, pork supplies shrink, prices rise, and processing plants shut down. The European Union's pig industry plays a major role in global pork markets. Disease outbreaks disrupt supply chains far beyond national borders. Export bans can last years, devastating farmers who rely on foreign markets. Smaller producers often cannot survive long-term restrictions. High wild boar populations force farms into costly indoor systems with strict biosecurity rules, pushing many small farmers out of business. Wild boars also carry other diseases, keeping livestock under constant threat. If populations keep rising, some regions may no longer support pig farming at all, making global food systems more fragile. A global crisis still growing. Wild boar populations have risen for decades, and control remains elusive. Their intelligence, adaptability, rapid reproduction, and disease risks have created a global crisis. This problem spans continents, not isolated regions. Climate change may make it worse by increasing survival rates and expanding suitable habitats. Boars are moving into cities and suburbs, causing property damage and safety risks. Urban boars lose fear of humans, making control harder. Ethical debates complicate population control, while the loss of natural predators removed important balance from ecosystems. Experts expect the situation to worsen before it improves. Without major breakthroughs, wild boar populations will keep growing, bringing higher costs, greater damage, and increased disease risk. Should wild boars be considered invasive everywhere, or are they simply adapting to human-made changes? Share your thoughts below, and thanks for watching. See you in the next video.